Travel and aviation is waiting. What will happen Ireland's aviation policy? Are we going to go along with the rest of Europe and open up our borders?
We need to see the Canary Islands on that. Lanzarote is the #1 seller out of Ireland. All the Canary Islands, including Tenerife, absolutely.
We have clients who've travelled on holidays, but they're trying to be quiet about it. They're not telling their neighbours they're gone. They're afraid that they're going to have a backlash. That's not really the type of holiday that we wanted to sell to clients.
Very few people sharing on social media that they're going on holiday because there's such a backlash from their neighbours.
Despite all its critics, the Green List has led to the opening up of routes from Ryanair to Greece and also the TUI programme to Greece.
We certainly had a spike in inquiries, which is very exciting for all of us. We've sold 3 holidays, 1 to Malta. We have clients going out to Italy this morning to Sorrento for 4 nights. And we have a family booked to Cyprus. And we probably have the same number of inquiries going through the system.
We saw there in the UK for August, when they lifted the ban on Spain, there was a pent-up demand for holidays. Now they got caught subsequently, but it does mean that demand for holidays will come back.
So it's grassroots. We have a long way to go, long road ahead this winter, but really it's great for all of us to be getting back to doing what we know how to do best.
I do think when we bounce back, we will bounce back very, very quickly. We're certainly ready for it.
What's left for the travel trade for the rest of 2020? There are varying opinions of that.
I think the remainder of the year is pretty close to a write-off, to be perfectly honest with you. It's 2021 we're trying to concentrate on, putting up offers for, trying to get a bit of interest for.
I'm not sure is 2020 a write-off yet. I would still be a little bit optimistic on that score. I think summer 2020 is absolutely a write-off. I think the autumn and winter will be interesting. We have an awful lot of people who transfer their summer holiday to Christmas and the autumn.
Now, we do have people who do want to go in the next couple of weeks, but nothing like what we should have.
Is 2020 a write-off, Brendan?
Absolutely. And it should be a write-off, but it should be a write-off for everybody, including the airlines.
Well, anything that does happen between now and the end of the year will be a bonus for sure. Some agents are still marketing, and fair dues to them. Most still remain shut because the few in the vanguard that did open didn't see the corresponding increase in sales. In fact, quite the opposite. All it did was act as a magnet for consumers to come in looking for the refund.
Also, what's really significant, and I'm finding it here a lot, is that companies have introduced the quarantine anyway. So people that are working in some of the pharmaceuticals that are close by to us here, they can't go on holidays because they're going to require a further 2-week holiday when they come back. The civil servants have introduced it. So it's not the government law anymore, it's the companies have introduced it. So we should really hibernate. That would be for me would be the best thing.
And how much exposure does selling a non-green list country leave the travel trade in?
The frustration is that we're all chomping at the bit. We want to make money, we want to provide a service, but we're also mindful of the fact that we cannot be seen, I think this is really important, as an industry we cannot be seen to be acting against the best interests of government advice.
To sell a country that isn't on the green list, because that would have major implications for me as a package organiser.
Or indeed the consumers themselves, because we don't want the narrative to take hold that we are serving our own self-interest.
To take on that responsibility. There's an awful lot of exposure for us, financially and otherwise, and legally. So
pronouncements about don't travel, cancel holidays, unnecessary travel, cocooning when you come home. The unintentional consequence of that is it's putting travel agents' livelihoods at risk.
Threat to our industry, and if it doesn't get sorted out soon, there is going to be a bloodbath in another 2 or 3 months. We've been predicting this. It hasn't happened yet. So I think the first real test will be when the next round of license renewals come up. That's when the tide will go out and we'll know who isn't wearing shorts.
Speaking to other agents around the country, they're looking at plan B, plan C. Everybody's looking at everything on the table at the moment, and I think it needs to be all discussed and thrown out there what's the best to do.
Oh, we certainly need some support for the travel industry. I mean, what I've seen, there's nothing in it really. I mean, the CWSS scheme will be very helpful. Running it up to April will be great for us, because hopefully coming into January we'll be back in some degree of normal business.
The consortium, and I'm sure Worldchoice and indeed travel counsellors have been doing the same, along with the Trojan work carried out by the ITAA. We've all been making our respective representations.
European package directive was up until the 20th of July, as you know, and people could cancel before that. So they took it down, and then it was open all the way through, and I was wondering whether they're going to put back up another date like the 20th of September. But they haven't done that now. They've brought back in the old one, and we're now gone beyond the 20th of July, and it clearly states that if people want to cancel their holiday under the directive, we can charge an administration charge. So from my point of view, if I have clients going, which I have this weekend, to Tenerife, and they have their flights with Ryanair and they're going, that is going to be the administration charge, unfortunately, because we can't lie to the loss of it and refund the clients if we don't get it back from Ryanair.
Even if a supplier doesn't refund us, we have an obligation to refund the customer in certain circumstances, and that's not sustainable. We cannot sustain that. At this stage,
there is a realisation that travel is not going to return in any meaningful way this year, and so therefore the focus of the conversation has become much more about what financial supports can we get from the government to help us tread water between now and then.
The wage subsidy scheme to keep going. There is a fear that that's going down to €203 a week. That's not viable for a lot of people that have mortgages, and the 3-month mortgage relief that people may have gotten is ended.
We are going to need other financial supports in the form of grants, not loans, by the way. Nobody has any appetite to take on any additional debt when they know there's no realistic way of being able to repay.
We need to stop rents. We need to just hibernate and wait until there is a demand that we can open our front doors.
Continuation of the COVID payments until March would cost, we calculated that to be approximately 45 million. I think grant aid support would probably take another 120 million. Anything less than that, I feel it's going to be too little too late on.
You can't flog a dead horse, and customers really don't want to go on holidays this side of Christmas, in my opinion.
We also have refunds that people haven't received since March and April. So, and it's not just airlines, it's other suppliers as well. And whilst we've been told that we will get refunds, it's when. And consumers are now looking for them still.
It's difficult to read. We really need to see that money coming in our credit cards, and it's still very, very slow. We sat down yesterday to clear March and April to see what could we actually pay back to customers, and a lot of files still were waiting on those airline refunds.
Ryanair have put a spanner in the works with the refunds because they're trying to get at the scraping companies, and that's causing us trouble yesterday, where they said that we needed to fill out further forms to get the refunds back. So we're trying to get that clarified.
Aer Lingus today have just come out and said in relation to their vouchers, yes, they're valid for 5 years. We knew that anyway. But also by the end of August, they will have a system in place that will allow name changes on the vouchers without fee. I think that's fantastic. And also they said that they will combine vouchers. So, if you've got a family of 4 and there are 4 vouchers, well, the 2 adults could go off to on a long haul flight if they wish.
It's going to be extremely tricky to get to the point where the demand is there to be back up and running in full capacity, and I still don't know.
I think we all thought things were kind of beginning to improve or beginning to kind of get a bit of traction.
At this stage, it's like Groundhog Day, same thing over.
But the problem is when, and we're kind of sitting here. It's very bleak at the moment, I have to say.
It's like they haven't made one decision. They haven't come out clearly about anything.
My name is Owen Corrie. Travelwrap is commissioned by the Irish Travel Agents Association. The views here are my own.
What needs to happen next? Oh, this coronavirus needs to just go away.
I've been keeping busy. So I've been mentoring a very well-known award-winning travel agent who will remain nameless on how to cook fresh Irish lobster, Myrtle Allen style. And I'm happy to announce that his wife was presented with them last night on the table, and they're still alive this morning. Not the lobsters now, but the travel agent. So his certificate of competence is going to be sent out in the post. Now, if you do hear of severe food poisoning from shellfish in the Navan area, I'm not taking any responsibility because I believe the lobsters came from Mullaghmore and not Ballycotton. So he's possibly going to open up a new restaurant in the future